PIAA District 3 M&T Bank Basketball Championships kick off tonight on Soft Rock 100.1 WQIC as the ELCO boys visit Northern Lebanon to take on the Vikings. Tonight's game is brought to you by Heritage Run, Members First Federal Credit Union, and Kramer and Lum Funeral Home and Crematory. Now let's head to Northern Lebanon High School and join Phil Soto-Ortiz and Eric Thomas for the pregame on Soft Rock 100.1 WQIC.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Fredericksburg, Pennsylvania for the start of tonight's District 3 Boys Basketball Championships. Alongside Eric Thomas, I'm Phil Soto-Ortiz. Should be a good one between a couple of LL League Section 3 rivals, the Raiders of ELCO and the Vikings of Northern Lebanon High School. Eric, should be a pretty good one tonight. These teams have played against each other twice, a very close game earlier, and then lately, ELCO defeating Northern Lebanon, and it kind of has set the pace for where things have gone down the stretch. Two teams that have been going in different directions.
They certainly have, Phil. Yeah, Northern Lebanon, who hasn't won a game since late January. In fact, ever since that buzzer beater, quote-unquote buzzer beater, lost, they haven't won a game at all. They've lost. They've been on a 4-game losing streak, lost to Hempfield in the LL playoffs last Monday night down at Hempfield. ELCO, on the other hand, defeats Northern Lebanon on the way into the district tournament to go. They were 8-10 at one point late January. January 24th, they're looking like they're not even going to make the tournament. They go on a 5-game win streak. They get into the dance at 8, or a 4-game win streak. They get into the dance at 12-10. Last team to qualify in, they're the 10 seed. They got in by a pretty comfortable margin. I think they would have got in even if they would have lost to Northern Lebanon. Tonight, we'll see what happens here, but this should be a wild game. I mean, you have ELCO, 181 threes on the season. We'll talk a lot about that. Northern Lebanon's just got to figure out a way to get back to winning a ball game. They haven't been able to do that in almost a month.
No, it's been a tough ride since the 26th of January, as you mentioned, when they defeated Peckway Valley. After that, losses to Lancaster Catholic, Lancaster Mennonite, ELCO, and Hempfield. Now, those are some very good teams that they've lost to in that stretch, but they are not going in the right direction now. The momentum certainly favors the Raiders in this matchup.
Yeah, it really does. You would think it would anyway, just based on what's happened over the last couple of weeks. You know, you really kind of throw out that game with Hempfield last week just because it's a tournament game. It's LL tournament. You get some playoff experience. This is a Northern Lebanon team that had to figure out what to do without Christian Trader. He's not going to play, we don't think, for the rest of the season anyway. So it's something off the court. But, you know, they just have to figure it out here. On the other hand, though, you talk all about ELCO and how hot they were to get into the tournament. They haven't played in 13 days. So let's see if there's any rust on this team. It's a tight gym. It's a hot crowd. Everybody was seated by 6 o'clock here tonight. There's not a seat empty in the entire place. You know that this crowd is going to be on top of ELCO the entire time, literally and figuratively. It's going to be loud. It's going to be hot. And let's hope it's back and forth and as good as the first meeting between these two.
It's already pretty loud. It's already pretty hot. And you can tell it is going to be an intense game day atmosphere here in Fredericksburg. This is the beginning of the District 3 tournament, so we're going to get a chance to look at the bracket when we come back. We'll take a couple of commercial messages and then continue with the pregame show. You are listening to the PIAA District 3 M&T Bank Basketball Championships on WQIC.
Building today.
Opportunity Act.
We continue with the pregame show on WQIC. Eric Thomas, Phil Soto-Ortiz here in Fredericksburg, Pennsylvania, where one of these teams is going to be eliminated from a chance to play in the PIAA state tournament. Only one will get a chance to move on. Whoever wins this is assured of at least having a shot at playing through the consolation bracket. You lose, you're out. So definitely a lot at stake tonight, especially for Northern Lebanon. They've got a lot more senior leadership on their team. ELCO has a lot of young players in their lineup, so their best days may still be ahead of them, but a lot of eyes are going to be on Fredericksburg, not only because of that, but because, well, there's only one other game going on in Class 4A, and Eric's going to give you a look at the bracket as this is one of 2 games going on. Everybody else buys, and they're waiting around for the quarterfinals.
The top 6 seeds get buys in the first round, so the number 1 seed, Lancaster Catholic. A lot of people think they may be the favorite in this bracket at 22-2. I'm actually going to say it's the 2 seed, Berks Catholic, who the winner of this game gets. You've got to figure out a way to deal with Casey Jack and also Kevin Mitchell, 2 double-figure scorers on a team that's won 18 straight games. They won the Berks tournament last week, beat Reading, who I think is the favorite in 6A, and the defending state champs. So they got a lot going for them in Berks Catholic. I really think that they're the favorite to win this. I think those 2 are probably the heavy favorite to at least get to Hershey Park, the Giants Center on Thursday, March 1st for the district championship game. The other interesting team in this bracket, I think Middletown's going to get a lot of publicity. They've got a lot of talent on that team. Ryan Hughes and a couple of other guys. They were good last year. Everybody knows that they went to the back-to-back state football championships this season. I think they have a shot to go pretty far in this bracket, too. They get a bye into the second round of the quarterfinals against Boiling Springs, who also got a bye. Keep an eye on the other game tonight, because Bishop McDevitt, if they get healthy, if Jason Pilsitz comes back, he suffered a head injury, they thought concussion, he was in protocol for the better part of 3 weeks, they think he's going to be good to go for the playoffs. If he plays tonight and their three-guard lineup is effective, that's going to cause problems not only for Susquehanna Township tonight, but I think for Lancaster Catholic in the quarterfinals on Thursday. They're one to keep an eye on.
Well, it should be an interesting bracket, because you mentioned it is so top-heavy between Lancaster Catholic up top and Birch Catholic down. So these two teams, it's almost like their Super Bowl tonight. After that, might even be a little bit playing with house money, because if they get to that next round, then they know they have a chance to play through the consolation bracket. And I think one of these teams, whoever emerges from this, that's what you want. You want to get yourself into that PIAA championship and just get a chance to lengthen your season and get, especially for ELCO, get some more postseason experience.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. But remember, when they get to the consolation bracket, they only take 5 teams out of 4A. So you have to win the 5th place game if you fall in that consolation bracket. Otherwise, you're not going. They take 3rd place game, which they would play, obviously, the 2 semi-losers, and then the 5th place game. So 4th and 5th, or 5th and 6th, rather, determined by that game. But they only take 4 or 5 teams out of this bracket. So you got to get to that point. You got to win. Really, if you win tonight and you lose the quarterfinal on Thursday night, you've got to win one more game. You have to win one more game, because then you're assured that you're going to get to at least a chance to play for that state bracket. I think you're guaranteed at that point. You wouldn't have to go for that possible one and done, game for 5th place. But we'll see what happens here tonight, Phil. I really think that this Northern Lebanon team is in a lot of trouble tonight, not only because they go into the playoffs here tonight losing a handful of games. They were competitive with Hempfield on Monday night a week ago, or Tuesday night a week ago in that, or Monday night, I guess it was a week ago in that LL playoff game. And then kind of fell apart during the latter part of the first half. They really couldn't keep the pressure up. They came out shooting threes right and left. They hit 4 field goals in a row in the first quarter, go up 12 points. They hit 12 points. They're up by 4, I think, at one point. And they just couldn't keep that momentum going. And when you don't have a guy like Christian Trader, who doesn't score a whole lot, but he's one of your dependable players out there, if you don't have him, you've got to figure out a way to win without him. And I think the guy that's got to step up for them tonight is Michigan Dobb. We know what he did on the football field. He needs to shoot the ball more. He needs to be more aggressive with the ball when he gets it. He wasn't aggressive last week against Hempfield. If he steps up tonight, they have a shot to take pressure off Caleb Light. That's going to help him out.
Well, the other thing that ELCO did such a great job, and when they knocked off Northern Lebanon the last time they played, is they held Alex Yeager in check. He only scored 4 points in that game. They got their points from Caleb Light and Cameron Gensler. You're not going to keep everybody down, but Northern Lebanon cannot win against ELCO if they're only going to have 2 guys scoring. ELCO has a bunch of guys that are going to shoot threes, and you're not going to be able to take all of them out. Northern Lebanon has to get at least 3 guys in double figures or pretty darn close to double figures to have a chance against ELCO, because you know the Raiders are going to hit some shots.
I don't disagree with that. And you have a team like ELCO that shoots as many threes as they do, so you know what they really do. They don't get to the free throw line a whole lot. They shoot a lot of threes. You know that's coming. Did the layoff hurt them? We'll see. They're going to probably want to try to come out and hit a bunch of those early on just to send a message to Northern Lebanon. And if ELCO gets up and they stay hot from 3 after that layoff, this might end up being a long night for the home team.
ELCO really goes very deep in scoring. They get 11 points, 7 points a game from Jeff Leroy, 10.2 from Braden Bohan, and 10.1 from Blake Weary, 9.8 from Bryce Coletti, and 7.7 from Asher Kemble. Never mind the fact that a bunch of those guys are underclassmen. The point is they have a lot of guys that can score. They have 5 at least different players who can step up and be the man at any time. And when you look at Northern Lebanon, it's a little bit different. They lean very heavily on Caleb Light. He has had a great career, which really runs in the family. His brother Sam Light had a great career, now wrapping up a great career at Lebanon Valley College. Alex Yeager is a guy that can slash to the hoop or hit from the outside. Michigan Dobb is a guy that they haven't got a ton of offense from this year. Cameron Gensler down low is a very muscle-bound guy. He's the guy guy that really causes matchup problems for other teams, even teams that are taller. Gensler is so strong down low.
Yeah, he really is. And that's the guy that they try to turn to against Hempfield and who they may need also to step up. We mentioned Dobb. The other guy that's interesting, too, I think, in their offense is Henry Hubbard because he can step out and hit threes, too. He doesn't have a whole lot this season. Has 18 of them. So he's up there in the team. But they tried to get him going early last week in the LL tournament against Hempfield. And if they get him hot, they can go punch for punch with ELCO. That might go a long way to get a tournament in this game.
And the thing with ELCO, of course, is they just hit so many three-pointers. And, Eric, I know you had a great stat about that and about how they stack up against the rest of the LL League. Why don't you share that with some of our listeners?
Bryce Coletti, 24 three-pointers this season. Out of the entire LL League, of the other 24 teams in the LL League, he would either lead or be second in threes on 16 of them. That tells you how deep their three-point shooting goes.
It's really incredible what ELCO can do, and it's not every team that has that, and it could give ELCO the edge they need tonight against Northern Lebanon. Just a few minutes away from the start of this game in the District 3 bracket. We'll take one more commercial break. When we come back, we'll have basketball for you. You're listening to the PIAA District 3 M&T Bank Basketball Championships on WQIC.
This is Steve Lum of Kramer & Lum Funeral Home. Personalizing your funeral has never...
270-4292 for more information.
Back at Northern Lebanon High School, where the Vikings and the Raiders are about to kick off their Class 4A District 3 basketball bracket. Should be a good one. Alongside Eric Thomas, I'm Phil Soto-Ortiz. The national anthem has been wrapped up. The starting lineups have been announced. And for ELCO, it looks like this. They'll go with Bryce Coletti, Jeff Lara, Joe Ginder, Braden Bohannon, and Blake Weary in the starting lineup. And for Northern Lebanon, it looks like it's going to be Caleb Light, Henry Hubbard, Cameron Gensler, Alex Yeager, and Michigan Daub will be out there to jump center for the Vikings. The Vikings wear their white jerseys with blue numerals trimmed in gold, very, very lightly so. And ELCO, the Road Blues, with the yellow lettering and the numbers trimmed in white and yellow.
Pretty important point here, too, Phil. These are LL officials tonight, as they should be, between two of the same conference teams here. Keep that in mind. A lot of times you get the neutral court officials that haven't seen either team. This crew has seen either team tonight. They're LL officials.
Tip is won by Northern Lebanon, is controlled by Gensler, and District 3 play is underway. Caleb Light, top right, fires it into the corner. Henry Hubbard up top for Michigan Daub. He holds it top of the arc, fakes the pass, now makes the pass to Light. Gensler trying to set up down low. Man-to-man defense from the Raiders, just underway. Yeager gives it up to Gensler. Cutting through is Hubbard, cutting to the basketball, and it's thrown away. Good read by Weary, all the way down, one-on-one, puts up a wild right-handed shot, no good, but it's tipped up and in by Jeff Lara, and the Raiders take a 2-0 lead.
Box out that time. Elko did a great job denying Light on the other end that first trip, too.
Light going baseline, got himself in trouble and threw it away. Picked off again by Weary. His second steal, nice catch in the front court by Coletti. Across to Bohannon, extra pass. Weary for three is good. Probably won't be the last time we say that tonight. 5-0. The visitors on top. And another interception as this one's taken away by Bohannon. Coming down 3-on-2, and then a touch foul is called on Northern Lebanon. Probably smart by the Vikings, but not a good start offensively by Northern Lebanon.
Now, and the foul's on Caleb Light, too. That's his first, so you got to watch that early on, too. Obviously, Chris George is going to let his team go. Not panic yet, not call a timeout yet, but you got to hang on to the ball here. Northern Lebanon's not done a good job. 3 turnovers in the first minute.
Coletti on the wing, right side. He's guarded by Light. Northern Lebanon also goes man-to-man. We hadn't seen that because the Raiders had been in the full court. Handed off to Bohannon. Kicked into the corner for Weary. He'll dribble it out of there. Gives it up top of the arc. Coletti all the way in, off the glass, and good. Just blew by Michigan Daub. 2 points for Bryce Coletti, and it's 7-0. ELCO on top.
Daub's got to step up and be a little bit more aggressive on that defensive end. He can't be afraid to take a charge and step in front of somebody driving to the bucket.
Daub drives all the way down, switches to the left hand and scores, and gets fouled. Michigan Daub will have a chance at a three-point play, and his team needed that badly.
He's a guy that has to step up in this game. I think he does too. They've wanted him to shoot more. Chris George has talked about wanting him to get more involved in the offense. Good sign early on. Needed to step up there on defense, makes up for it on the offense. Going right down the lane, right to the rim.
Foul goes against Bohannon. Daub, 11 for 20 this season. He misses that. Offensive board by Gensler, and he had it knocked out of his hands, and it's rebounded there by ELCO. Joe Ginder hands it off to Coletti, and he'll slow things down. Just over a minute 40 gone by, 7-2. ELCO leading Northern Lebanon. Back between the circles, it's Coletti. Vikings go 2-3 zone. To the right side for Leroy. Down along the baseline, kick back out. Coletti fakes a pass, now to the near side. Leroy into the lane, puts up a right-handed floater. That's good. 4 points for Jeff Leroy. And that's a 9-2 ELCO lead. They're not missing.
One way to bust that zone. Go right at it.
Daub holds it beyond the arc, top right. And he'll hand it off on the right side. Alex Yeager holds it high. Puts it on the deck, pulls it up from the free throw line, gives it up Hubbard. He puts up a three that barely grazes the rim. And the rebound for Weary. He gets it to Coletti, and Coletti holds up at midcourt, bounces it back, and ELCO just got away with a travel. Kick out for Bohannon. He goes along the baseline left side, has to kick it back out. Weary, entry pass, drop step, off the glass, and good. Joe Ginder is on the board, and it's 11-2, ELCO on top. And finally, timeout taken by Northern Lebanon. It's a 30. We'll take a quick one. 5:20 to go in the first. 11-2 ELCO. You're listening to the PIAA District 3 M&T Bank Basketball Championships on WQIC.
Open at membersfirstfederal.org. Members First Federal Credit Union. They put their members first. Other restrictions or conditions may apply. Business in accordance with the Federal Fair Housing Law and Equal Opportunity Act.
Northern Lebanon walks it up the floor, trailing early by 9, 11-2. Alex Yeager pulls up, puts up a mid-range jumper, and cans it from the free throw line. Northern Lebanon could use a lot of that. They're back within 7. It's 11-4.
I think they just have to be more aggressive on the boards, too, and more aggressive on defense. They got to start turning the ball over here.
Bohannon out of the corner. He hits a three. Make that Coletti out of the corner. Off the drive and dumped by Blake Weary. 14-4. Out of control, Caleb Light, but he's fouled. That's a bailout.
ELCO just does not give you any time to breathe, Phil. They are so aggressive on that offensive end. They don't care what kind of defense you throw at them. They don't care if it's zone. They don't care if you play straight man. They're either going to attack you or they're going to make the extra pass and find the open three-point shooter.
Entry pass for Yeager along the baseline. He backs away near the sideline and then gets back between the circles to the left side for Light. He holds it way out near midcourt and looks for some instruction from his coach. Now puts it on the floor. No pressure on him. ELCO going zone. Up top, it's Hubbard, top left, to the right side for Yeager. He's got Light on the wing. He gives it to him, guarded by Bohannon. Light wants to put up a three, and still he'll give it up for Yeager. He'll shoot the three. Too strong, rebounded underneath, and a push foul from behind. Called on Northern Lebanon, and it goes against Gensler. Northern Lebanon has had very little answer defensively for ELCO, whether in full court or half court.
Yeah, nothing. And they can't force a turnover. They haven't forced a bad shot yet. We got an issue with one of the ELCO players here that looks like maybe has some blood or something on his hand, on his thumb. But they give you no time to breathe. I mean, as quick as you throw up a shot and they get the rebound, they're down there. You can set up in your zone. You can set up in man. It doesn't matter. This team is built to shoot the basket. It's modern basketball is what essentially this is. It's no big in there. They just like to go out there and shoot the ball.
Driving all the way, full court, off the glass, and good. Bryce Coletti now with 7 points in the game. He wasn't waiting around at all. 18-4. Red Sea parted for him. Light stuck along the baseline. He throws it out toward the top of the arc, and it's into the backcourt where it's taken back by Yeager. Now Yeager, unsettled, pulls up again from the free throw line. This time no good. And the rebound, Evan Huey, who just checked in at the last whistle. Still a 14-point leader for ELCO. Very quickly along the baseline from behind the backboard. No good. Wild shot taken by Bohannon, ill-advised, and it's out of bounds and goes back to the Vikings. That was a gift.
Just the second miss for ELCO in the early going. Northern Lebanon's 2 of 6 from the floor, so they've got to find something on the offensive end. You can tell Light wants to get aggressive with it, but they're doing a great job on defense. It's been, for the most part, it's been Laura who's been on them, at least early on. You can tell Light just wants to start uncorking things, but ELCO's done a great job of denying him any looks.
Just another substitution. The 6'5 sophomore Asher Kemble checks into the game. He'll set up in the middle of the zone. And on the right side, it's Yeager. 2 steps beyond the arc, throws the long skip pass, trying to force it into Gensler. Nice hands by Gensler. He goes baseline. He's double-teamed and stuck. Up top, it's Yeager. Off the nice bailout. Now into the corner for Light. He puts up a three. That's good. Caleb Light hits from the outside to get his team a little closer. It's an 11-point game, 18-7, Elko.
Working away from him, and everybody doesn't pay attention to him, and then you make the extra pass and find Light set up wide open in the corner.
Knocked away from Huey, but it's a run down by Lara to the near side, Coletti, and back up top, Bohannon. He's guarded now man-to-man by Daub. And a little blocking foul is going to be called on Michigan Daub. That's his first and the team's third. And right now, Elko just looks a lot quicker than Northern Lebanon.
And they're playing with a lot more confidence, too. And that's what we talked about at the onset of the broadcast, just how they got into this tournament red hot and how Northern Lebanon got into the tournament not red hot.
Lara throws it in the backcourt. Kemble should be able to play this back there, and he does. Now from Gensler. Gensler backs off, and now Coletti will be able to bring it to the front court. To the nearest side, Braden Bohannon. Guarded softly by Daub. Now he starts to drive. Kicks it back for Huey coming on the curl. He finds Lara driving into the lane. Lost it. Got it back. Puts up a shot. No good in the lane. And rebound comes out high for Gensler. 2 unsuccessful trips in succession for the Raiders, and the Vikings will try to take advantage. Into the corner for Gensler, along the baseline, falling out into the lane, gives it up for Michigan Daub. Lost it, but got it back. Long skip pass. Gensler, little confusion, but it comes through to Yeager. Back up top for Hubbard. Bounce pass to Caleb Light. Light, couple jab steps, but the defense is there. Near side Yeager. He launches a 3. That's good. Alex Yeager now has 5 in the game, and it's an 8-point game. 16-10. It's a 6-point lead.
That ends up working out okay for Northern Lebanon, but they missed Light wide open twice. Nobody within 5-10 feet of him. He would have had a wide open look from the same corner again if they would have found him.
Bohannon with a crossover, puts up a right-handed floater, and hits that. Braden Bohannon with his first points of the night. 5 different Raiders have scored. Now it's an 8-point lead for them, 18-10.
Now, what do you notice early on about Elko, too, Phil? They're not relying on the 3 all that much. A lot of high percentage buckets.
Kick out, inside out. Yeager open for 3. That's no good, and the rebound comes right to Bohannon. Light tried to knock it away to no avail. Daub goes after that. He can't do it. Bohannon kicks it back for Lara. He makes the up fake, hands it back to Huey. Huey outside for Bohannon. He kicks it back out for Coletti. Everybody's sharing the ball. Minute 22 to go in the quarter. Fast-moving first quarter. 18-10. Elko down low for Kemble. Taking it to Gensler. Fall away baseline jumper. Good. Nicely done. Pretty by Asher Kemble. 6th different Raider with points, and it's a 10-point Elko lead with 1:06 to play in the quarter.
And it's a high percentage shot. They want to get their offense going early. They hit a couple threes here in the first, but they're not relying on it. They're not taking forced threes. They're all high percentage looks for this Elko team early on.
Hubbard for Yeager. Yeager pulls up, throws the skip pass for Light. He puts up a 3. That's good. Caleb Light now with 3 pointers on 2 consecutive trips. 45 seconds to go in the quarter. 20-13 Elko. Coletti tries the crossover. This time it's knocked away by Light. Coletti fortunate to have it back. He gets it across the top to Bohannon. Knocked toward the midcourt line and stepping on the sideline, Bohannon, but they're going to call the foul on Northern Lebanon. With 33 seconds to go, it's a blocking foul. That goes against Michigan Daub.
That's against Caleb Light. That's Caleb Light's second. And he was the guy defending over on the far side. Chris George has no shot but to take him out here. You got to make sure Light's out of foul trouble. You can't afford to have him pick up a third. Got to go with him now. Probably the first couple minutes of the second, he's going to have to sit the bench too.
Coletti drives and now pulls it back into the corner. Looks like Elko wants to take the clock early down, and the Vikings may not let them. Bohannon with 15 seconds to play. Coletti comes, weaves, and gets it from him. In the midcourt circle with 11. Coletti hands it off for Huey. Northern Lebanon might have gotten away with a foul. 7 seconds to go. Top of the arc, Kemble to the right side off the wing. Huey, 3 seconds. 2, 1, down low, Kemble. Good if it goes? No, they wave it off, and it's the right call. Asher Kemble hung in the lane just a split second too long. Nicely done, but it will not count. First quarter's in the books in Fredericksburg with the visiting Elko Raiders leading Northern Lebanon 20-13. You're listening to the PIAA District 3 M&T Bank Basketball Championships on WQIC.
Where dedication.
Tory, Route 72 in Jonestown.
Strong first quarter for the ELCO Raiders as they lead Northern Lebanon 20-13. Quarter number 2 just about to get underway. Phil Soto-Ortiz, Eric Thomas alongside. And Eric, Northern Lebanon just didn't bring enough defense early. They got beaten in transition, but they were getting beaten very easily in the half court too.
They were definitely getting beat in the half court. 9 of 12 shooting in the first for ELCO. And you look at their selection of field goals here. They only made 2 threes, so 7 other baskets. High percentage looks. They work. They got in the paint. They drive. They go against the zone. They drive right at the teeth of the zone. ELCO really showed you that they don't have to rely on the three-pointer. 181 from during the regular season. They hit 2 in the first. Now, that's not saying they're not going to come out swinging here in the second, but I like the fact they went high percentage in that first quarter.
Handing out into the lane for Kemble, and this time he has all the time in the world. Kemble leans in and scores. He's got 4, and the lead is 9, 22-13.
And another high percentage look. Kemble gives them an element that neither team really has a lot of, and that's height. He's got a little finesse on his shot, too. They like going to him inside early on.
Josh Bowers controlling the point. He gives it up to Daub on the right side. Bohannon gives him plenty of space. Yeager now has a top left. He makes the up fake. Now pulls up from the free throw line. Kicks it out. Hubbard. Nice catch by Henry Hubbard. He had to reach in back to Yeager for 3. No good. And Kemble skies for the rebound. Ahead to Coletti. And the Vikings do a good job getting back, and they'll play man-to-man. They throw the double team at Coletti, but he's able to get it to Weary. Now gets it back, top of the arc, puts it on the deck, behind the back dribble, kicks it over to Huey, coming off the left wing. Huey kicks it for Bohannon. Up top, Weary, he'll launch a deep three-pointer. It's good. Blake Weary with his second 3 of the night, and that one was deep. 25-13, the Raiders with their largest lead of the game. Down the right side, Bowers. Hubbard cuts through. Up top for Michigan, Daub. ELCO now going man-to-man. Daub holding it high. Drives to the right side. Turns his back and kicks it back out for Hubbard. On the right, it's Bowers. Cutting to him is Yeager. They're trying to shut him off. And it'll be Hubbard coming to get it. He's guarded by Weary in the man-to-man. To the near side, Daub. Tall entry pass for Gensler. Gensler will take it at Kemble. Puts it on his hip. Has it knocked away and stolen by Kemble, who gives it to Coletti. And now Coletti will let everybody drift up the court. Raiders with the ball, leading by 12. Coletti on the right side, keeps his dribble. Tight defense on him by Yeager. Now he floats it up top of the arc for Weary. He's down the lane, puts it up, no good. And the rebounded by the Vikings. Yeager pulls up from the left elbow. Now he'll give it up for Daub. Daub into the lane. Hop step. Switches to the left and scores on the scoop. Michigan Daub with 4 points. It's a 10-point game again, 25-15.
That's what Chris George wants out of Michigan Daub. They want to be more aggressive. They don't have Caleb Light out there right now. Somebody has to step up offensively. Daub, this is a perfect opportunity for him.
Coletti finds on the corner Bohannon. He's guarded by Michigan Daub, who seems to have improved his defense in the latter part of the first quarter, early going in the second. Back to midcourt, Bohannon. He hands it off for Coletti, left sideline. Coletti working his way down the sideline now, wants to get to the baseline, can't do it. Back outside for Kemble. Kemble, couple of jab steps, now into the lane, lost it, got it back, puts it off the glass, no good. And the rebound, Yeager on the weak side. With the Vikings trailing by 10, 5:10 to go in the quarter. The floater from Yeager, friendly rim, is good. Nicely done by Alex Yeager. He's got 7, and the deficit now 8, 25-17, ELCO.
I don't like the aggressiveness there from Yeager. He's a guy that likes to pull up and shoot too, but they gotta really just get buckets any way they can here in the first half without Light on the floor.
Weary almost lost it, but he was able to get to Huey. Huey puts up a wild shot, but he's fouled. Shot won't go, but Henry Hubbard is going to be guilty of the bump, and that's going to send Huey to the line. Evan Huey doesn't shoot a lot. 16 of 22 this season, so when he does shoot, he's pretty efficient. First one's good.
7.
That goes by the boards.
Now you got 2 guys with 2 fouls, Light and Daub. Chris George is looking to see what he's going to do. He's not making a substitution, though, so Daub's going to stay out there with 2 fouls. And you have Light that's back out there with 2 as well. They don't have a choice right now.
And that's 6 on the team. Huey drives, coming to him over to Bohannon. And up top, Lara. Lara back to Bohannon, top left, well beyond the arc. Gets a pick. And there's the roll, but Bohannon can't see the man who was rolling down the lane. That was Ginder. And the traveling is called on Huey. Better defense from the Vikings. They'll get it back. 4:18 to go in the half. 27-17 ELCO. Northern Lebanon just not getting enough consistent offense.
No, they're not. And that's why Chris George has to go back to Light and keep Daub out there, too. There's enough guys on the floor that can generate offense for him when Light's not there, but you don't have enough guys that can create it like Light can. That's the biggest problem.
Down the lane, Michigan Daub came up short with the left, and the rebound Bohannon. He looks to explode up the floor. Coming down 1-on-2, kicks it out to Lara. Lara will have to give it back up for Bohannon. He launches a three, is good. Braden Bohannon, top of the arc. Excellent ball movement in transition by the Raiders, and they're up by 13 as Light loses it. And here comes Lara. High dribble, but he kept his hand on top of it. He's rejected, but fouled by Hubbard. And that will be the second on Henry Hubbard. And that's the 7th team foul on the Vikings. This is a shooting foul, so it will be 2 coming up for Jeff Lara, who, by the way, very good free throw shooter, 23 of 29, 79.3. First one's good. ELCO's been the better team, both full court and half court. And I don't know what the answer right now is for the Vikings.
Well, there's one or two things they can try to do here in Northern Lebanon.
Second one, no good, and rebounded by Light.
I think you try to slow things down a little bit. This game is still at the point where I think you can play a slower pace and try to get ELCO to fall into that. Work the extra pass, find an open man, maybe get Light a good look. But at the same time, you're down to almost 3 minutes here in the second quarter, and you're down 14 points.
Yeager dumps it down for Gensler, who rips it away from Huey. It's knocked out of bounds. Last touch by Huey. They'll stay with Northern Lebanon. 3:20 remaining in the second. 31-17, ELCO by 14.
Phil, if you're ELCO, too, on the other end, the one thing you got to do is you got to find Dauber, you got to find Light. Light's the only one out there, but you got to find him and go right at him when he's on defense. Yeager into the lane, no good. Rebounded by Bowers, who will fire it back up top for Caleb Light. Wanted to shoot the three. Now he takes it into the lane and gets fouled. Good offensive rebounding by Northern Lebanon. No free throws. That's just the 3rd team foul on ELCO. They've done a great job in pretty much every respect. And that's one way to slow things down. I think you go back to Light. I think you let him create your offense. Let him drive. Dump down for Bowers. Kick back out for Yeager. He'll take the three, and it's good. Very simple play, but it works nicely. 10 points now for Alex Yeager. Still an 11-point ELCO lead, 31-20. Just under 3 to play. That works, too, I guess, if you can spot up Yeager. He is good from the outside. Lara along the baseline. Skip pass barely gets through to Weary. ELCO gets away with one. On the deck, pretty hard. Ginder kicks it out. One more pass. Lara wide open for 3 out of the corner. That's no good. Bohannon fights for the offensive rebound and has it. Back to Lara for 3. That's no good. Rebound. Gensler has it and rips it very strong away. Looks like he threw a little jab into the gut of Weary. Got away with it. Kicked out for a Light. He has all day to shoot the 3 and hits it. Cannot give Caleb Light that kind of time. It's his 3rd 3 of the night. This is an 8-point game, 31-23. He was backing up as soon as he shot it because he knew it was good. He hasn't missed from 3 yet. Huey drives down. Outside for Weary. His 3. That's no good. Rebound. Hubbard in the lane for the Vikings. A little over 2 to play. And they can cut this. Weary another deep 3. That's good. Yeager, excuse me, from well beyond the arc. And this is a 5-point game. 31-26, and timeout taken by ELCO as all of a sudden the gym is getting loud in Fredericksburg. Timeout on the floor with 1:55 to go in the first half. 31-26, ELCO leads Northern Lebanon. You're listening to the PIAA District 3 M&T Bank Basketball Championships on WQIC.
Hi, this is Tyler.
Back to Northern Lebanon High School, where the Vikings have gone on a run, and they have cut a 14-point deficit to now just 5. A 9-0 run, 31-26, Northern Lebanon, and they're hitting threes, and they've gotten away with a couple of open looks by ELCO that the Raiders haven't knocked down. You live by it, you die by it. That's the old adage with a 3-point shot. ELCO, who didn't rely on it too much in the first, has taken more chances with it here in the second. Haven't been as successful, and then on the other end, Light, I think the offense for Northern Lebanon works best, Phil, when they go away from Light in the set and let him work his way open and find him. Wide open for 3 is Weary, and this time he hits. Blake Weary out of the corner. They just walked it up and found him. Somebody fell asleep on defense for the Vikings. That breaks the 9-0 run. Yeager kicks it out to Gensler at the free throw line. Spins, gets hacked. And Cameron Gensler is going to the line. They have not had a chance to get it into him with his back to the basket enough. No, they really haven't.
haven't, and they right now have a size advantage out there without Kimball in there for ELCO. So that might be the way they change their offense up here a little bit. You can work inside out. You have enough shooters to do that if you want to. I go back to the point, though, that I think their offense, and Kimball's actually going to check in as Gensler misses the front end. I think that Northern Lebanon's offense works best when Light doesn't have to be the guy to set everything up. I think when he can pass it off and work his way open around the arc or somewhere out there, I think their offense is better and gives him a better chance to get something wide open.
Vikings go to the press as Gensler makes the second of the two. 34-27 ELCO. Bohannon in the backcourt across to Coletti. Coletti accelerates across the midcourt line. Now down low for Kemble. He'll kick back it to Lara. The press is broken, but the Vikings settle into the man-to-man defense. Bohannon puts up a wild shot. No good. Very high off the backboard. And then Yeager finds Bauer streaking up the court. He's rejected from behind by Weary. No foul called. And the rebound, Kemble ahead to Coletti. Coletti, right side, foul line extended, back up top of the arc. It's Bohannon who looks back to his coach with 1 minute to play in the half. It's a 7-point lead for the Raiders. Coming to him is Lara in the midcourt circle. Lost his dribble, put up a wild pass that was taken away by Yeager. He brings it forth. Now he waits for his teammate. Now puts up a very deep three. That's no good. And the rebound, Lara has it. Coming up 2-on-2. Now 3-on-2 as Kemble joins the play. Pulls up from mid-range and hits. 9-point lead as Asher Kemble now has 6 points in the game. 35 seconds to play. 36-27 ELCO.
I like the recognition by ELCO. They haven't hit a couple threes on their last few attempts. Go back inside. Let Kimball, who has a good mid-range game, give him an opportunity to shoot it. Don't take a low percentage shot. Keep working for the high percentage. That's what works so well for them in the first quarter.
16 seconds to play, and the Vikings content to hold for one shot. Caleb Light, top of the arc, now drives down the lane, goes to the left and scores. Caleb Light with an explosive step. 6 seconds to play. 7-point lead for ELCO. 36-29. Quickly, Lara, deep if it goes, but it does not. Might have had a little more time to get the shot off, but he fired it from the sideline anyway. But it's still a pretty darn good first half for ELCO, minus a 9-0 run that Northern Lebanon had in the second quarter. 36-29 ELCO at the half. Northern Lebanon did a good job, Eric, to cut into this lead because they were not making enough hay even when they were playing well for quite some time. They finally were able to solve that somewhat in about the final 4 minutes of the second quarter.
And they also got ELCO to take bad shots, too. I think that's the other trick there. They forced him into not good looks at three. Light had a great defensive play down here in the closing seconds to get out there on a runner, I think, by Lara, who threw it off the side of the backboard. So their defense tightened up a little bit. ELCO wasn't as successful from three-point territory. They got Light open a couple times. He got going there in the second quarter. This is still not out of hand here if you're Northern Lebanon. I think this break's going to be good for them. They got to come out, and I think they have to attack the basket in the second half. If they do that, I think they're going to be okay.
36-29, ELCO leading Northern Lebanon. We'll take a break. We'll come back with the halftime show. You're listening to the PIAA District 3 M&T Bank Basketball Championships on WQIC.
Building today for a brighter
halftime in Fredericksburg with Northern Lebanon, the home team, trailing ELCO 36-29 in this first-round game, District 3 Class 4A Boys Basketball Championship. Alongside Eric Thomas, I'm Phil Soto-Ortiz. This is the halftime show. It's the quietest this place has been since about 6 o'clock. As Eric mentioned, loud and hot. And this is a very small gym. It's a great setting for playoff basketball because everybody had to be in here by about 6 o'clock or they weren't getting in here. And, Eric, I think the crowd's intensity has really matched the intensity on the floor, or at least they've tried to, because the intensity's been really good from ELCO in the first half. I love the way they played coming out.
I do too. What's going to be fun about the second half is ELCO is going to shoot at the bucket where the Northern Lebanon student section is. So that's going to get really interesting in that far corner. Must be jersey night tonight too, because I see Deshaun Jackson. I saw a Kentucky jersey over there.
Yeah, I also see a Flyers jersey and a Caps jersey. Better keep an eye on that.
Yeah, get rid of those two. I don't either one of those teams, no. But, that's going to make it for an interesting second half because ELCO is going to have to deal with that. They're going to be in Northern Lebanon's ear the entire time, and obviously Northern Lebanon is going to be shooting down at the end where the ELCO fans are too. So it's going to be interesting how the second half plays out. I think that Northern Lebanon showed a little bit more poise in that second quarter. not so much enough that they got all the way back in this game, but they shot better, I think, in the second, too. They were 6 of 11 in the second, ended up 11 of 21 for the first half. ELCO was 14 of 24 in the first half, and also only 5 of 12 in the second. So as the game wore on, ELCO started taking lower percentage shots more in that second. They took more threes in the second, weren't as successful with them. They did hit a couple, but weren't as successful with them. And I think that really kind of disrupted their offense. Their offense has worked better when it's been going at the bucket against Northern Lebanon's defense, especially with 2 guys out there in the starting 5 with 2 fouls. Keep attacking the bucket if you're ELCO and take those high percentage shots. You're going to keep having success.
One thing that ELCO has done very well, they've held Northern Lebanon's lineup to a very shallow lineup. Only a couple of players have really done most of the contributing offensively for Northern Lebanon. Alex Yeager leads the way. He had 8 points in the second quarter, 13 for the first half. And, of course, Caleb Light, his running mate, had 11. Michigan Daub had 4, and Cameron Gensler 1 point. That's it for Northern Lebanon. They have not been getting a lot of scoring from a lot of sources. That's kind of the way they've played most of the season. So if that's the way it's going to continue, they might have problems. They're going to need a third person to get involved offensively. And naturally for ELCO, it's been a little bit more spread out. Blake Weary was the leader with 9 points, all of that coming on 3-point shooting. They got 7 from Bryce Coletti, 6 apiece from Jeff Lara and Asher Kemble, 5 from Braden Bohannon, 2 from Joe Ginder, and 1 point from Evan Huey. So a lot more balanced and deep scoring from ELCO versus Northern Lebanon, and that's where they are with the lead 36-29. And as Eric and I mentioned earlier, this is one of 2 games going on. This is one of 2 games that there are in this round, this first round of the 4A bracket. And Eric, I believe, has the out-of-town scoreboard from the other game going on between Bishop McDevitt and Susquehanna Township.
Yeah, the only other game going on right now, the last report we had after 1 quarter of play, it was 20-11, Susquehanna Township over McDevitt. So Indians in that game, that's a rivalry. Of course, those 2 teams have gone at each other in multiple sports over the years. That's a little bit of a friendly rivalry there. Winner of that game gets Lancaster Catholic in Thursday's quarterfinals at Lancaster Catholic. So right now, Susquehanna Township, which both teams really barely got in the tournament. 2 of the last qualifiers, even though they're the 8-9 seed. But Township at 12-10 had to really kind of put it together at the end of the season. And McDevitt 11-11. I saw McDevitt 2 weeks ago, almost come back from a 25-point victory against Trinity, or 25-point loss against Trinity. They made that game really tight, but again, missing one of their guards in Jason Pilsett. So right now, Susquehanna Township, as we have it, a 9-point lead after 1.
So the winner of that game will go on and play Lancaster Catholic. On the other side of that bracket, Kennard-Dale and Littlestown are in the quarterfinals. That will be Thursday the 22nd. Here on this side of the bracket, the winner of tonight's game will take on 2-seeded Berks Catholic at 23-2. That would be played on Thursday evening at Berks Catholic High School. And then the other side of the bracket buys into the quarterfinals for Middletown and Boiling Springs. Middletown will be the host team at 15-6. Boiling Springs at 12-9. What's at stake for everybody in this round? You must win and go on to the quarterfinals to get into the consolation bracket. And that is significant because only the top 5 teams out of this bracket will have a chance to play in the PIAA state tournament. So the teams that lose in the play-in games, they're out, which, Eric, I think is pretty fair.
Yeah, listen, this District 3 playoff situation, it's not bad in 4A, it's not bad in 6A. Let's talk quickly about 5A, where I don't think we have a team in the coverage area who's in 5A, but 9 teams going to the PIAA state tournament out of 5A is ridiculous. They've got to figure out a way to calm that down, because if you lose your opening round game, you're still alive for a state playoff berth and may go into the state tournament as a 9 seed, losing 3 consecutive games. They got to figure out a way to correct that. They've got to figure out a way to correct really the whole thing. I'm in favor of just taking the district champs, and then out of the larger districts, you take the second place team, say out of like 3, 1, 7, and maybe 11 or 12, whichever has the most teams or the bigger classification numbers, and just have 16 teams in the state tournament. Just 9 teams out of, that's half the field. Half the field's going to qualify in 4A too, which I think is ridiculous, but 5's at least doable. But you have to get through tonight, and then you really have to win your first consolation game if you don't win the quarters, because that then assures you that you're in. If you lose your first consolation and fall down into that situation where you have to get for the 5th place team, there's a chance that if you get in that 5th place game, you're going home.
Now, Jim Boeheim will tell you, double the field, just take everybody that you can, but he's not involved in Pennsylvania high school athletics.
Thank God.
We'll take one more break and then come back to Fredericksburg with ELCO leading Northern Lebanon 36-29. You're listening to the PIAA District 3 M&T Bank Basketball Championships on WQIC.
Hi, this is Tyler.
4292 for more information.
Back in Northern Lebanon, where these teams are just moments away from quarter number 3. Should be an exciting second half of action between ELCO and Northern Lebanon. And I know Eric has just gotten an update on the other game going on in Class 4A.
Yeah, Susquehanna Township 28-19 with 3:19 to go in the second quarter. So they've tried to take control of that game, just a 9-point game. That game, by the way, is at Susquehanna Township. I do like the way that these teams will host to cut down on having to find neutral sites for all these games. So there's 164, I think, District 3 playoff games, and the first rounds and quarterfinals for the higher seeds are going to be at their home site, which I think works out really well. And you know what? Why not? I mean, why try to find a neutral site for these two teams? Why not just have it here? I think it works out great.
Northern Lebanon basketball to begin the second half. And they've got it in the front court now, shooting at the basket to our left. Caleb Light, top of the arc. He hands it off on the weave with Michigan Daub. Now gets it back top right. Guarded by Lara. Goes to the dribble. Now he goes to the drive. Goes to the left and scores. Caleb Light once again exploding to the goal and makes it a 5-point game again, 36-31.
Yeah, but if Northern Lebanon's not going to shore up the defense, that offensive output's not going to matter. They got to lock down here on this side.
Weary into the lane. Got away with a walk. They say that they got a hand in on there. Now put up with a floater. That's good from Bryce Coletti, as I think the Vikings were all begging for a traveling call, and that makes the lead 7 once again, 38-31.
Again, going to the rack. High percentage look. They have, I think, smartened up here the last couple minutes of the second quarter and now to start the third. Don't waste time trying to get that three to fall. Just go right at the bucket.
Light drives, gives it up to Gensler. Gensler bangs bodies and misses the shot. It's knocked out of bounds, and they're going to say last touch by Northern Lebanon. It looked like it was knocked out by Ginder, but it's going to be ELCO ball. Now they call a foul, and that's why. It's on Gensler. First in the second half. This is the second team foul, or second personal foul, on Gensler. Hubbard has 2. Light has 2. Daub has 2. That's it. Driving is Lara. Splits through the defense and gets rejected by Hubbard. And last touch by ELCO. Effective block by Henry Hubbard, and it'll be Viking basketball.
Chris George is still working the official on the near sideline after that call on Gensler. He's got to watch out.
A little over a minute gone by in the third. 38-31. Yeager drifting off to the right. His shot is no good, and Gensler might have had a shot at it, and it was knocked away from him. Daub almost took it away from Bohannon, who now finds Weary. Steps into a three. That's no good. And the rebound for Caleb Light. Behind the back dribble and gets to the front court where he's met by Lara. He's got the whole right side of the court at his disposal, but instead he'll back up. V cut from Daub, and he comes to get the basketball. Gensler very physically trying to get in position, but instead it'll be back outside for Light. Crossover dribble into the lane, lost it by Bohannon. Nice hands by Bohannon. Now coming down 1-on-2, blows by those two, but misses the layup, and the rebound wrestled away by Michigan Daub. And he runs it up the floor, 2-on-3, and then he will wisely peel off and hand it to Yeager. Now Yeager's got the left side of the lane. He puts it up, no good, but Alex Yeager gets fouled. Good recognition by Alex Yeager to realize the Raider defense was not set.
I think one of the little mini battles that we've seen here early on in this game, or at least halfway through this game, I like seeing the two quarterbacks go at it too, Bohannon and Daub. Seeing those two fight for things on either side of the floor, go at each other. They guarded each other a couple times in the first half. We're seeing both try to make plays here early on in the third.
Yeager makes the first free throw. He's a very good free throw shooter, 82.3%. Coach's dream. Kemble comes back into the game for ELCO. He had a very effective first half off the bench for ELCO. Yeager's second free throw. That one rattles in. And it's a 5-point game again, 38-31. 15 now for Alex Yeager. Remember, he only had 4 the last time these teams met. Beyond the arc is Bohannon. Very carefully steps inside the arc, protecting the ball from Daub. Back to Coletti. Coletti puts up a right-handed floater. That's no good. And the rebound top of the arc is Hubbard. Quickly ahead to Yeager. Yeager, he's going to take the three after the jab step. That's no good. And the rebound Bohannon. And he'll just slow things down as everybody else floods the front court.
Not great shooting here for either side. ELCO's just 1 of 5 so far in the third. Northern Lebanon Just 1 of 4.
Bohannon, the freshman, pulls up from the free throw line and hits. Braden Bohannon now with 7 points in the game, and the lead is 7, 40-34 ELCO with 5:13 to play in the third.
How much do you think his varsity experience in football helped him get ready for this?
Gensler gets clotheslined by Kemble as he tried to start a drive. That wasn't going anywhere. Asher Kemble guilty of the foul. That's the first in the second half on ELCO.
Bohannon, just a freshman, and was, as ELCO tried to figure out the quarterback situation this season, played the majority of the season, and I think that really got his mind right and got him prepared for the basketball season.
No defense for Michigan Daub, and he's able to hit. He's got 6 points there. Nobody tried to play him. Miscommunication among part of the Raiders. It's a 5-point game again, 40-35.
Yeah, that guy's pretty good, too.
And that was a rare mistake by the Raiders. Lara to the free throw line all the way in. Puts it up from about 6 feet. That's no good. Rebound tipped up in the air. And very physical underneath. A foul is called. And it looks like it's going on Northern Lebanon. And it's going to go on Alex Yeager. That's his first. Team second. And 2 free throws coming up for Lara. They call that a shooting foul. I don't know how they got that. Lara's free throw. I can tell from your facial expression, Eric, you kind of agree with me.
Yeah, I don't understand where the call on that was. That looked like it was on the floor, but...
It's about 4 guys banging for a rebound. Lara makes the first, second one no good, and the rebound nicely done by Daub in front of the bigger Kemble. The taller Kemble, anyway.
I get paid to sit up here with you, not call the game on the floor.
Beautiful reverse layup by Gensler underneath. He's got 3 points, and this is a 4-point game, 41-37. Coletti might have gotten away with a carry, but he bounces into the corner. Weary along the baseline, loses it. Misconnection with Kemble. Daub bumped from behind by Lara. Blocking foul will be called on him. That'll be an inbounds play coming up for Northern Lebanon.
You see on the other side of the floor, Phil, that Northern Lebanon's done a better job tightening up their defense, and that's a good thing. They're really trying to deny the three-point shot. They're really trying to deny everything, but they're looking more at closing out and locking up these guys on defense. And we've seen that here early on in the third. It's got to try to continue if Northern Lebanon's going to win this.
Hubbard's corner 3 is good. Off the good look from Alex Yeager. This is a 1-point game, 41-40. 4:08 to go in the third, and it is getting even louder here in Fredericksburg. Coletti hands it off to Bohannon. He's guarded by Daub. Man-to-man defense from the Vikings. Bohannon, the freshman, hands it off for Weary. Very tight defense from Daub. Coletti, hook pass into the corner for Bohannon out the left side along the baseline. And a push foul is going to be called. Hand check. I think this is going to go on Hubbard. And it is. That's his third. And the team's third.
Just as I say that, too, Michigan Daub got caught up in a switch. That left Blake Weary wide open on the far wing. They couldn't find him, ELCO.
Lobbed into the lane off the baseline. Bohannon couldn't handle it, but he's able to get it back to Lara, who fakes a pass. Now makes a skip pass. Weary for 3. That's good. Good recovery. Unscripted play by ELCO, and they get the lead back up to 4, 44-40. That's a clutch 3 from Weary, his 4th of the game.
Exact thing they did on the opposite end, but this time ELCO found him. He set up on the near side.
Gensler got careless with the basketball, tied up, and it's going to belong to the Raiders. 3:28 to go in the third, 44-40. ELCO clinging to the lead. They've never trailed in this game. That lead was whittled down to 1 moments ago. Till the answer by Blake Weary. Coletti will walk it up and cross the midcourt stripe.
Chris George telling Caleb Light, you got to be careful with the 2 fouls out there. He didn't like to see his guy get too aggressive.
Pass to the inside, misconnection, and it's taken away by Daub. He's got Yeager up ahead. Yeager lets Kemble go by, lays it up and in. 2-point game, 44-42. 17 points now for Alex Yeager.
Great patience to wait for Kimball to blow right by him. Good look down the floor. Good reaction time by Yeager to get down there for the easy bucket.
Lara finds Weary. He gets bumped. Nothing called. Over to Bohannon. Open for 3 is good. Big shot by the freshman Braden Bohannon. He's got 10. And the lead is back up to 5, 47-42.
How clutch is this ELCO team when they have to respond to these Northern Lebanon rallies?
Caleb Light gets a pick from his buddy Michigan Daub. Now drives the lane, loses it, gets it back, switches hands and scores. Beautifully done by Caleb Light, driving with the right, scoring with the left, and he'll have a chance at a 3-point play. 15 now for Caleb Light.
That's the 3rd foul, too, on Lara, so they're going to have to yank him out. Brad Connors is actually going to let him out there. That's pretty risky. He subbed out Coletti and also Kimball. and left Uriah out there.
Light's free throw is no good, and the rebound for Weary. 2.5 to play in the third. 47-44, Elko by 3. Good read by Daub to pick off the pass across the midcourt. Loses it, gets it back along the baseline. Muscles his way to the hoop. That's no good. Going for the rebound off his fingertips as he fell down. Taken the other way by the Raiders. Ahead to Huey. He'll have to slow things down as things are getting a little butterfingered. Now in the corner, Bohannon launches an air ball. And the rebound for Yeager. He'll walk it up the floor. Both teams right now need to settle down. Across the top for Daub. Top left. He toes the arc. It's a Hubbard between the circles. 1:55 to go in the third. 3-point game. Caleb Light through the legs into the corner for Daub. Skip pass for Gensler, top of the arc. Gensler got his man in the air momentarily. Now he'll hand it off for Hubbard, who eyes the rim, doesn't want to shoot the three. Fakes the pass, now makes the pass for Yeager. He's not shy about shooting. Jab step right, pulls up in the lane and drains a shot. 1-point game again. Alex Yeager with 19 points, 47-46. Elko in the third.
He's been sensational tonight, Phil, and has just let the game come to him. He's taking whatever the defense is giving him that time on the drive, the little pull-up. He's showing you the whole array of offense here tonight.
Pull it pass down low. Lara off the glass and good. Nice look from Joe Ginder to hit him with the pass. Once again, the lead is 3. 1:08 to play in the third.
Nice look by Lara inside. Again, Elko going back to the high percentage bucket.
Muscling his way to the hoop is Cameron Gensler. He'll score and get fouled. Cameron Gensler with a very physical play with 59 seconds to go in the third, and he'll go to the line.
And see, that's the thing that Northern Lebanon's got to take advantage of. Asher Kimball, who's going to come back into the game, is not as big as Gensler, but with the height there, it's more of an even matchup. They have to take advantage when Kimball's not in there of recognizing that and letting Gensler get his opportunities in the paint. Now they come back with Kimball. That's going to get taken away from him, but good job that time by Northern Lebanon. Give it to the big guy, let him work the baseline, and let him create underneath the bucket.
Late substitution now for Elko. That slowed things down, a little gamesmanship, but they'll put Huey in for Bohannon. Gensler, one free throw. Good side of the game. We get another quarter of this, Eric. I love my job.
I wish we had 3 or 4 more games in this, actually.
Gensler's free throw is good, and we are all tied at 49. 59 seconds to go in the third. The Vikings will wait back in the half court. They'll play man-to-man. Coletti crosses midcourt. Pass to the near side for Weary. Coming back is Huey, midcourt. Drives to the top of the arc, slows down, gets it back to Weary. 44 seconds to play. Tight defense from Yeager. He crosses him over. Weary knocks it out of bounds. Tries to save it. Now thinks about going out in the parking lot. Actually went through the door. Fire alarms didn't go off, which is good. 38.8 to play. Elko will inbound on the baseline.
Kid thinks he's Bo Jackson.
Up top for Kimball to Weary. He puts up a three from the right wing. That's no good. Very high for the rebound. Yeager. Long pass ahead. Caught in traffic for Light. Back to Gensler for three is good. And the Vikings lead it 52-49. Beautiful full court pass from Caleb Light back to Cameron Gensler as he was lost along the baseline. Elko will cross midcourt with 15 seconds to play. They'll hold for a final shot as now the momentum is with the Vikings. 10 to play. Coletti hands it off for Weary. Trouble with the handle, but back to Huey. 5 seconds to play. Weary looking for options. Now puts it on the floor. Coletti, deep three at the buzzer. That's no good. Quarter number 3 is over, and the Vikings have erased what was a 14-point deficit in the second. They will go to the fourth with the lead. 52-49, Northern Lebanon over Elko. 8 minutes left in regulation, and we'll be back after this. You're listening to the PIAA District 3 M&T Bank Basketball Championships on WQIC.
Open to members first.
1 quarter left to decide this first round Class 4A District 3 boys basketball game, and it has been tremendous. Northern Lebanon coming from behind to now lead Elko 52-49. Alongside Eric Thomas, I'm Phil Soto Ortiz. Well, Eric, we've been saying we wanted to call a game together, and I think we got ourselves a pretty good one.
For three quarters, Phil, I totally agree with you. ELCO 19 of 37 from the floor. They're just 10 of 25 the last two quarters. So their shot selection has come into question. They've taken more threes the last two quarters. They've been unsuccessful putting the ball in the bucket. On the other side, you want to talk why Northern Lebanon was so successful. 9 of 13 in the quarter. They're now 20 of 34 for the game.
Light has it to begin quarter number 4 for Northern Lebanon. Yeager, guarded by Coletti, pulls up from the free throw line, no good. Rebound tipped around, offensive rebound for the Vikings. It's Michigan Daub. Back to the basket, he spins away from trouble, and back between the circles, it's Yeager. Yeager drives right, out into the Bowers. Outside on the wing, Gensler, back for Light. Top left, jab step to put up a three, rattle out, halfway down, and rebounded by Kemble to Huey, and the Raiders look to run. Huey, bounce pass ahead for Coletti, now he'll get it back as the Vikings D up. Down the right side, Bohannon scoops it in. Nicely done by Braden Bohannon. He's got 12. And once again, this is a one-point game in favor of the Vikings this time, 52-51.
This kid's not a freshman anymore. He's really taken charge of this game here for ELCO offensively. They need to look for him more on the offensive end.
Yeager hands it off for Daub between the circles. Daub almost dragged the pivot foot. Light down low for Gensler is knocked away, but Gensler can run it down. Pulls up from mid-range. Back to Light. Smart decision. Light trying to lose his man. That's Lara. Directing Gensler, says get out of there. Back up top for Daub. On the left side, it's Bowers. 6:40 to play. 1-point game. Bowers. Hand check foul. That one's going to go against ELCO. That's number 6 on the Raiders. And it's called on Asher Kemble.
By the way, for a quick scoreboard update, the other game going on in 4A right now, halftime, and McDevitt's cut into Susquehanna Township's lead. It's now 39-34 Township.
They always say it's a game of runs. Light gets it into Bowers up top. He hands it off for Yeager. Yeager starts to drive down the right blocks. Back to Gensler from just inside the arc. That's good. Cameron Gensler starting to heat up in the second half. He's got 10 now. And once again, the lead is 3, 54-51 Vikings.
Gensler keeps showing that mid-range, that long-range game, and Kimball's going to have to step out. That's going to open up things for Daub and Light underneath.
Back outside, two-man basketball. Huey's three. That's no good. It's an air ball. And the rebound for Caleb Light. Looking back at Coletti. Now he brings it up the floor. Crosses over. Tries to get to the goal. They'll wave off the shot. Foul is before that. Still a pretty drive by Caleb Light. That's going to be team foul number 7, however, on the Raiders, and it should be a 1-and-1 for Caleb Light.
Yeah, it's going to be on Lara, too, and that is going to be foul number 4 on him. So Brad Connors has a choice here. 6:04 to go. You got to take out your dead-eye shooter. They're going to let him play. I mean, this is all or nothing, so I don't really blame him in that case. Now they're going to sub. We'll see if it's going to be for Lara. That's the question.
And that's Blake Weary. He's also a dead-eye shooter, and it is for Lara. 106 threes between those two guys. How'd you like to coach that?
Make your job pretty easy, wouldn't it? You could just be like Kerr and let the players call out the offense if you want to.
Caleb Light, 1-and-1. First one is good. 16 points tonight for Caleb Light. 6:04 to play in regulation.
He's not going to get credit for it in the game story, or he didn't get credit from us because we missed it, but his pass to Gensler in the third.
Light missed the second one. Daub got the rebound, put it up. That's no good. Kemble gets the rebound, and the Raiders will slow things down.
And his pass to Gensler for that open three to close out the third there, come close to the end of the third there, really got this thing going for Northern Lebanon.
Bohannon, two-man out into the lane for Kemble. Too strong. And the rebound for Daub. He turns and finds Light coming down 2-on-2. Light all the way in, scoops it in, and gets fouled. Caleb Light with 19 points, and he'll have a chance to make it 20. And the Vikings have their largest lead of the night, 57-51.
And, the other thing, too, Phil, is that you have to give Chris George credit because when he took Light out in the first half and let him rest there for a good chunk of the end of the first and part of the second, he trusted his guys enough to keep the ship afloat, and they did that. And now, with only 2 fouls and 5:40 to go, you can let Caleb Light take the game over for you.
30-second timeout. We'll take a quick one as well. Northern Lebanon by 6. You're listening to the PIAA District 3 M&T Bank Basketball Championships on WQIC.
Route 72 in Jonestown.
Caleb Light with a chance to make this a 7-point lead for Northern Lebanon. 5:40 to go. Tries to complete the three-point play. His free throw is up. That one's no good. And the rebound tipped by Weary and then rebounded by Daub for Northern Lebanon. And that works out for the Vikings. Extra possession. 5:32 to go. A little too early to start thinking about running some clock. But it could work out that way. Hand it back to Daub. Thinks about a three. And then wisely decides to just put it in his pocket. Lets everybody else cut through. Yeager comes to the basketball between the circles. Guarded by Coletti man-to-man. Yeager with the crossover. Outside for Hubbard. He'll take an open three. It's good. Henry Hubbard with his first points of the night. This is a 9-point lead. 60-51 Northern Lebanon.
And they work away from Light, and they make the extra pass. And that's why I think if Light's not going to drive to the bucket and draw contact, their best offense is let everybody else get open or let him create everything and get open himself.
Michigan Daub gets a hand in to create the turnover. Now gets the pass, and now we'll wait for the cavalry. Back to Alex Yeager. They better D up on him, and they finally do. Yeager top left, and he'll just drift back toward the midcourt stripe. Nice bounce in the step of the Vikings. Now Yeager explodes to the goal, kicks it out. Gensler corner three, that's no good. And rebound Bohannon runs it under it. And he has it knocked away from behind, but a foul is going to be called on Hubbard. That's a tough luck foul on Hubbard. Still a smart play.
Definitely a smart play. It's going to be his third foul. And no danger yet for Northern Lebanon here as they only have 14 fouls. So LaRa's going to come back in, by the way, for ELCO. This is do or die time now for the Raiders as they've only got 4:29 to go. And we know that the three is the great equalizer at any level of basketball. And ELCO can shoot it like nobody else can in the entire league in District 3. They've got to come up with something here in the next 4.5 minutes.
Ball in the hands of Blake Weary. He's one of those guys that can certainly hit. Bohannon tries to back down Michigan Daub. That is not easy. Up top, Coletti to Weary. The Vikings are a physically strong team. Coletti almost took his eye off Caleb Light a little too long. He's lucky to have that basketball still. Finds Bohannon. Nicely done. Bohannon pulls up. Short jumper is good. Freshman seems to find space every time he needs to. Cuts the deficit to 7, 60-53.
And Daub got caught up in a switch again, too. He was out front guarding with Light. He got caught up in the switch, and Bohannon was able to run free and get the little jumper.
Yeah, they weren't getting a steal out there either. Daub, he eschews Light, and now we'll just bring it back to Yeager. 3:45 to play. 7-point lead for Northern Lebanon. 60-53. Daub between the circles, holds it high. And Caleb Light comes to him. Right along the midcourt stripe. Now he starts to drive down the lane, hop step, and gets fouled. Caleb Light will shoot 1-1 once more.
A couple of other scores that I got a chance to pass them along to you. Girls side in 6A, Wilson leads Cedar Crest 36-23. That game's over on WLBR right now if you're interested in tuning in for that one. Also, end of 3, Conestoga Valley leads Dallastown in girls 6A 32-26.
Yeah, it was figured to be a pretty good girls game that Mike and Len are doing out in Reading. Mike knows the Reading area pretty well, I'd say.
Yeah, I think he knows a thing or two about the geography there.
The voice of the Reading Phillies.
They call them the R-Phils in this part. The R-Phils.
Caleb Light's first free throw. That one's good as well. Second time he's made good on the front end of the 1-on-1. Lead is 8, 61-53.
My question is, why couldn't we find the guy that does the Railroaders games?
Second one good as well. Caleb Light having himself a heck of a game. 62-53. 9-point lead for the Vikings. Bohannon got Daub in the air, but he has his floater rejected by Gensler and rebounded by Yeager. 3:19 to play, and the Vikings are just tightening up on D.
Yeah, they really are. They really have from the better part of that second quarter through the third and now the fourth. They've really stepped up on the defensive end.
Gensler makes a long pass out of the corner back to the midcourt circle for Yeager. He throws a couple of jab steps at Coletti. Does a good job to keep his hand on the ball. Finds an open Gensler along the baseline. Got away with a walk. Missed the shot anyway, and the rebound for Huey. Couldn't believe how wide open he was. Neither could the officials. Lara into the lane. Kicks it out. Coletti for 3 out of the left corner. That's no good, and a rebound easily for Light. 2:42 to go, and ELCO has gone cold.
Yeah, they have. They're trying to find open guys out there, and I really think that Brad Connors has got to go back to Lara now. They got to get him out there because he's been the best three-point shooter they've had. Bohannon looked a little shaky on the last one he took.
Dobbs' pass almost got picked off. Coletti had an idea to jump in the lane in front of Yeager. But it's back to Michigan Dobb. He throws a couple of jab steps, and now the Vikings realize the clock is their friend. And timeout taken by Northern Lebanon. They want to make sure they don't get careless. They've got the lead, 62-53. 2:13 remaining in regulation time. You're listening to the PIAA District 3 M&T Bank Basketball Championships on WQIC.
100.
Northern Lebanon once trailed this game 31-17. That seems like a long time ago. Now they are in control, and now Michigan Dobb off the inbounds play gets fouled, and that's going to be number 10 on ELCO. Michigan Dobb going to the free throw line. He'll shoot 2. It's been a very Dobb-like game for Michigan. He's had 2 points in each quarter. He hasn't been a big scorer, but he's been there when they've needed him.
Well, and I think he's made clutch plays on the defensive end, too. He's gotten caught up a couple times in a couple switches. He misses the front end, but we said that somebody had to step up for them offensively, and I think he's actually stepped up for them overall. His defense tonight's been good. He's been able to handle the ball, rebound.
Second one is good for Michigan Dobb. He makes 1 of 2. And this is a 10-point Viking lead, their largest of the game. 2:06 to go. 4-possession game. Coletti jams on the brakes in the front court. Huey got his man Yeager in the air and got fouled on the floor. And that's just number 5 on Northern Lebanon. Just one more thing the Vikings have done well in the second half. They played great defense without fouling, and now no chance for ELCO to make a little hay with the clock stopped.
And the other thing, Phil, is that the way ELCO shot the 3, we know they can turn it on, but the way they've shot the 3 since the second quarter on, it's been a detriment to them. And now Northern Lebanon's kind of made them have to go to it here the last 2 minutes.
Long inbound pass to the top, to the midcourt line, and now Coletti will try to drive from there. They switch off on him, and he gets to Bohannon left corner. Bohannon works his way on Michigan Dobb, who takes it right away from him, keeps it in bounds, and now Dobb up the left sideline, gets fouled by Coletti, finally rights himself before he goes flying out the doors, out by the snack bar.
See, that's the thing that he's been able to do tonight, is give you a little bit of everything. Good defense that time. Foul was on Bohannon, his second, but good defense. Now a chance here to really put this thing not necessarily out of reach just yet, but enough that you can feel comfortable with your Northern Lebanon.
First free throw is good for Michigan Dobb, and he's got 8.
Good defense by him on that end of the floor that time. I think they trust him more now. He's just got to be a little bit more aggressive offensively.
And he makes the second one as well. It's a 12-point lead, 65-53. ELCO has to score and score fast. Kick back to Bohannon, who does not take the 3. Back to Huey. He can't get it off either. Now Weary will try a 3. That's off the front rim, no good. Offensive rebound, turnaround Kemble, no good. And flying in for the rebound is Yeager, and a foul on him. And it's committed by Bohannon with 1:28 to play. And now Alex Yeager will take the slow walk to the front court, and he should be able to put this thing just about on ice.
You would think so. I mean, ELCO, their shooting touch has gone away. Their aggressiveness has gone away. They started to play Northern Lebanon's pace a little bit. They've gotten frustrated with Northern Lebanon's defense. I mean, it's been a total role reversal. We talked about Northern Lebanon not being able to find whatever that little skunk was after that buzzer beater.
First free throw good.
That losing streak they've had, whatever they needed to find, they found it here tonight, especially the last maybe 20, 22 minutes or so.
A warm hand for Michigan Dobb as he leaves the floor. Henry Hubbard comes back in. Yeager now has 20 and make it 21 as he hits the second. He's been terrific tonight. Those are his first points of the fourth quarter, but he was there when they needed him so desperately in the second. He had 8 points in the second quarter. In the front court, Coletti's runner no good. Kemble gets away with a little physical play, spins in the lane and hits to cut the deficit to 12, 67-55. Timeout on the floor with 1:17 to go. We'll take a quick break as well. You're listening to the PIAA District 3 M&T Bank Basketball Championships on WQIC.
Over to members.
67-55. Northern Lebanon leading ELCO and trying to wrap up a first-round win in the District 3 Class 4A Boys Basketball Championships. Earned themselves a date with Berks Catholic on Thursday evening. And Eric, you said it before, you live by the 3 and sometimes you die by the 3. ELCO lived with it in the first half, and they certainly have not in the second.
Second quarter on, they're 5 of 16 from three-point territory. They haven't gotten as good of looks. They settled for some bad ones in the second quarter, and then it kind of carried over to the third and the fourth. And with ELCO getting those looks and Northern Lebanon tightening up their defense, that's made life very tough for a team that has to rely on the three-point shot.
They get the quick foul on the inbounds and Caleb Light. Now he'll try and extend the 12-point lead. You can shoot less than 33% and win, but you've got to be doing other things well offensively, and they just haven't done that, especially nothing inside.
No, and they weren't doing that early in the game. That's the thing. They weren't relying on the three early in this game. They were getting the high percentage looks early in the game, and then they started settling. They said, let's play our game. Let's get our game going here and hit some threes and blow this thing away. And they started settling for bad looks. There was a play defensively where Light closed out on one in the second quarter, and from that point on, they've just not hit anything from deep.
Caleb Light makes the first and the second. Now a 5-possession game, 69-55, 1:12 to go. Coletti gets by Caleb Light all the way in. The right-handed finger roll is good, and the Raiders will talk things over. They'll take a full timeout. We'll take a quick one as well. 1:08 to play, 69-57, Northern Lebanon over ELCO. You're listening to the PIAA District 3 M&T Bank Basketball Championships on WQIC.
This is
68 seconds, all that stand right now between Northern Lebanon and a trip to the quarterfinals of the Class 4A boys basketball bracket. They lead by a dozen, 69-57. Tremendous second-half performance by Northern Lebanon. And Eric, we were talking about everything that ELCO did so well, not relying on the three. They really benefited from some very porous interior defense by Northern Lebanon early on that let them drive the lane. That really hasn't been there from the second quarter on.
No, and part of it's been Dobb and part of it's been Gensler, too. Both have stepped up in the paint and done their fair share on the defensive side. They really trust Gensler and Dobb, both just handling the ball right there to break the press.
1 minute to play as Gensler was surrounded in the backcourt but was able to get it away. Now Light's pass is taken out of the air by Bohan, and he puts it up and in, gliding in coast to coast. Clock continues to run, 69-59, 10-point game. They get it into Dobb, and he gets fouled. Michigan Dobb will go back to the free throw line. He was fouled by Evan Huey.
3 of 5 here tonight, 55% free throw shooter coming into tonight's game. So the odds you would normally think would be in ELCO's favor, put him on the line, but this kid just is playing with a lot of confidence here tonight. This was something that if they had this last week in the LL tournament against Hempfield, that's longer than a 2-quarter game, I think.
First one rattles out. Dobb is a guy that everything about his body language suggests confidence, suggests kind of a what me worry kind of attitude.
That's an excellent point. They're going to need the way he played tonight, minus a couple of cleanups on defense. They're going to need that against Berks Catholic if they win this game here tonight.
10-point game. Now it's an 11-point game as Michigan Dobb hits the second. 47 seconds to play. 11-point lead, 70-59. Coletti launches a deep three. That's good. Top of the arc. And once again, timeout taken by ELCO. We'll keep it right here. 41.2 remaining. The lead is cut to 8, 70-62. Not unheard of. We've seen stranger things. Maybe that didn't even involve Reggie Miller. But for ELCO, that's their first three in quite some time.
Oh, it is. And now 6 of 17. From 3 from the second quarter on. I think it's important out of this inbound pass here, too. I think you want to try to avoid getting the ball in Dobbs' hands. I think you need to get it in Light's hands, or you got to get it in Yeager's hands. One of those two guys. I would have Dobb as your inbound guy, or Gensler as your inbound guy, and I would try to get the ball in those two guards' hands. If you're going to the free throw line, they're going to go, 2 for 3, or try to trade 2 for 3. You want your best 2 free throw shooters to have it. You don't want Dobb to have it. Not saying he hasn't done a great job tonight, but to put this thing away, you need the ball in either Light or Yeager's hands.
It is Michigan Dobb who will inbound. And, of course, ELCO will press. Dobb runs the baseline. They get it into Caleb Light, and he gets fouled right away by Huey. So they took your advice.
Yep, good recognition by Chris George. I think you can just see the way he was looking at the last play and how they got the ball up the floor. He was a little too worried about having Dobb be the guy that went to the free throw line. You want your best two guys on the line. Light's their second best free throw shooter this season.
And exactly 40 seconds to play. Light's first free throw is good. He continues outstanding night that he's been having. 71-62. Next one could make it a 4-possession game, Bowers comes back in the game for Northern Lebanon. He's out there with Yeager, Dobb, Gensler, and of course Light, who makes the second. 72-62, 4-possession game. Coletti very quickly to the front court, along the baseline, fires a pass out to Weary. He kicks it back. Bohannon catches a three-pointer, is no good. Rebounded for Gensler, and he gets fouled right away by Joe Ginder with just 29 seconds to play. And it doesn't look like it's going to happen for the Raiders.
Yep, started out fast here tonight. Give Northern Lebanon a lot of credit because they could have folded early in this game when things weren't going right. This was 31-17 at one point. And Northern Lebanon was able to battle their way back in, and they did it with fundamentals, defense, guys boxing out, getting rebounds, taking better shot selection on the floor. They really just had a complete 180 in this game, and it really has paid off. And they got 28 seconds to kill here, but congrats to Chris George for getting to that second round.
Kinder went to the bench. That's his 5th foul, and his career is going to come to an end, barring a miracle comeback. Gensler made the first, missed the first and the second. Stays a 10-point game, 24 seconds to play. Backdoor pass, they find Huey in the corner. He hits a 3. First field goal of the night for Evan Huey. It cuts the deficit to 7, and they get the foul with 16 seconds left on the inbounds. And then that'll send Alex Yeager to the line.
First round action tonight, final in girls 6A. Wilson defeated Cedar Crest 43-30.
If you were listening to that game on our sister station, WLBR, we welcome you to Fredericksburg. Catch the end of this Northern Lebanon ELCO game as Yeager hits the first of his 2 free throws. 73-65. Alex Yeager having a terrific night. 22 points now for him. Second one is good as well. Soft touch off the front rim. And a timeout taken by Northern Lebanon with 16 seconds to go. We'll keep that right here as well. So, Eric, probably a little bit too early to talk about what to do against Berks Catholic, but I know you've talked about them and how highly you regard them and how highly they're regarded around the region. What is the one thing that can give anybody a fighting chance against Berks Catholic?
Well, I think you have to have a player the likes of Caleb Light who is not afraid of anybody, and that's going to help them a lot Thursday night. He's going to have to stay out of foul trouble. Dobbs going to have to do a lot of dirty work inside in that game, too. I mean, Kevin Mitchell and also their other big gun out there, Casey Jack. I mean, both those guys averaging double figures. They're not an overly balanced team. Keep in mind, though, this is a Berks Catholic team that just beat Reading in the Berks final, defending Class 6A champion from a year ago, who is in pretty good position to make a good run again this year, too. So it's going to be a lot of things, a lot of moving parts have to kind of come all together here. Gensler's got to stay out of foul trouble and on the floor. Dobbs got to do dirty work. Light's got to stay out of foul trouble, control the game.
13 seconds to play in this one. 9-point lead, 74-65. 9 seconds left. ELCO, one last possession. Coletti inside the arc, gives up for Kemble. Taken away from him. Yeager doesn't have to do anything, but just put it in his pocket. Time runs out. Northern Lebanon's moving on. 74-65. The Vikings from a come-from-behind win to defeat the Raiders of ELCO. They go on to the quarterfinals. They'll play at Berks Catholic on Thursday evening for ELCO. The season comes to an end at 12-11. They gave Northern Lebanon their best punch in the first half, but just too much defense from the Vikings the rest of the way, Eric.
Yeah, that was a great job by Northern Lebanon to flip the script there. Again, this was 31-17 at one point. They played better defense, took better shots. They started attacking the basket more. They got more people involved. Dobb had a great game, doing a lot of dirty work out there for his team. Rebounds. Light got involved. And I really think that stretch at the end of the first, when Chris George took Caleb Light out of the game to give him a rest with those 2 quick fouls. They kept him off the floor to start the second. They brought him back. He was able to stay out of foul trouble, and that allowed him to be more aggressive on both ends of the floor. That really, to me, was the difference in this game.
74-65 is the final. We'll step out when we come back. We'll wrap up the stats in this one, give you the rest of the out-of-town scores from around particularly this bracket and elsewhere in District 3. The post-game show's coming up. 74-65, Northern Lebanon over ELCO. You're listening to the PIAA District 3 M&T Bank Basketball Championships on WQIC. Welcome back to Northern Lebanon High School. It's the post-game show in the District 3 Class 4A Boys Basketball Championships, where Northern Lebanon has advanced to the quarterfinals. They'll play Thursday night as they defeat ELCO 74-65 with Eric Thomas. I'm Phil Soto-Ortiz in the post-game. And Eric, we talked about how Northern Lebanon didn't get a lot of scoring options, but they got enough from enough people tonight to get by an ELCO team that was hot early and certainly cooled off later.
Yeah, they really did a number on ELCO defensively in the second half, really from the second quarter on, as we take a look at the final numbers here tonight. 14 for Blake Weary and 14 for Bryce Coletti for ELCO. They were second on the team with Braden Bohannon, who had 16. 8 for Asher Kimball, 6 for Jeffrey Laura, who was set by foul trouble. They couldn't go back to him late in the game, and he really was a non-factor down the stretch. And then 5 for Evan Huey and 2 for Joseph Ginder. ELCO tonight, Phil, finished 26 of 52, but more importantly, 9 of 21 from three-point territory. They came out on fire from deep, taking smart shots, but they were attacking the basket too. When they got away from attacking the basket and settled for bad looks at three, their three-point percentage plummeted. That took them right out of the game.
Well, there was good shooting and very good offense all around from ELCO, as they were really recognizing the weak spots in the Northern Lebanon zone that they were trying to play. And even when it was man-to-man, they were beating them in transition. And Northern Lebanon just did a great job on putting a stop to all of that about midway through the second quarter. They were able to chip away, and then in the third quarter, they finally found their stride offensively and really were able to blow by ELCO.
Yeah, they really were. Looking at for Northern Lebanon, 24 for Caleb Light, 23 for Alex Yeager, 11 for Cameron Gensler, who had the big three, had a big third quarter. And when he was able to step outside and start hitting shots from the outside, that opened a lot of things up for this Northern Lebanon offense. And 10 for Michigan Dobb, who did a little bit of everything here tonight. Rebounds, a couple of good defensive possessions for Dobb. Really played better, I think, as the game got on. And that's good to see that he's got some confidence there as they go to Berks Catholic. And then 6 for Henry Hubbard. Northern Lebanon tonight finished 23 of 42 from the floor. More efficient. I think they took better shots in the second half, and from the second quarter on, but second half particularly, better shooting percentage, smarter shots. And then again, I go back to the point where Chris George has to rest Caleb Light and then bring him back in the second quarter after missing about probably 4 or 5 minutes of game action. But he didn't pick up another foul, and he was able to stay aggressive the rest of the game. And when he was able to stay aggressive, that really helped both ends of the floor for Northern Lebanon.
Yeah, I couldn't help when he picked up his second foul of thinking of the game that I covered on Thursday evening, the girls' basketball championship of the LL League, where Alexis Hill of Lebanon Catholic picked up a third foul in the first quarter, and after that, it was really the writing was on the wall for the Beavers in that game. And had that happened to Caleb Light, might have still been a shot for Northern Lebanon, because they are a little bit deeper than the team that I was talking about, the girls basketball team at Lebanon Catholic. But good strategic move by Chris George to trust the rest of his team and make sure that his leading scorer was going to be around when they needed him.
And good going into a game against Berks Catholic, because they're going to have to make sure everybody stays on the floor in that quarterfinal on Thursday night down there.
So that's going to be on Thursday the 22nd. It'll be at Berks Catholic. Northern Lebanon, who now will come in with a record of 16-7, taking on a Berks Catholic team that is 23-2. But now, even if they lose that one, they can still play through the consolation bracket and have a shot to get to the PIAA state tournament. Not so for ELCO. Their season comes to an end at 12-11. But with all the young players on their team, 3 sophomores and and Evan Huey, Bryce Coletti, and Asher Kemble, and Braden Bohannon is a freshman, they certainly bring back a lot of guys that are battle-tested coming into their junior, and in Bohannon's case, sophomore season.
And I think that's going to really help them going forward, how they had to fight to get to this point here tonight. It's not easy to build a program up. And Brad Connors, who they got to the PIAA tournament in 2015-16, and then since then they've not been able to really compete till this season. So a couple 8-win seasons sandwiched in there. But when they can build on this going forward, the old adage of next season starts tonight, it starts tomorrow really for this team. If they can work at it, they've got enough pieces there that come back next season. Bohannon's only going to get better. He's probably only going to get bigger too, because he's only a freshman. I think he really grew up in varsity football season and then carried that over to the basketball season and helped them out. He's going to be the one to build around, I think. But great job by ELCO to fight their way into this tournament, win those games at the end of the season, including beat Northern Lebanon, and then get to this point here tonight to have a shot at states.
Auspicious beginning to District 3 basketball play. This was a good one tonight, and there should be more good stuff tomorrow night. Eric will have the broadcast right here on WQIC. Palmyra will be taking on Fleetwood in that one, and I'll be over on LBR, our sister station, for girls basketball, the 1A bracket. Lidditz Christian going up against New Covenant Christian. So be there at 7 o'clock, 6:45 pregame, either station. Eric on WQIC. I'll be on WLBR. Final score once again, Northern Lebanon 74, ELCO 65. I want to thank our producer, Carson Shuey, and my broadcast partner, Eric Thomas. I'm Phil Soto Ortiz. Thanks so much for listening on WQIC. Good night, everyone.
Where dedication is a tradition.